In this video, we'll be solving a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. The quadratic equation is 2x squared minus 4x plus 9 equals 0. This quadratic formula is the solution x, or solutions x, are negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. A, B, and C, what are those? Well, A is the coefficient of the x squared term, B is the coefficient of the x term, and C is the constant term. So let's start plugging those in. X equals negative b, so the opposite of negative 4. Note that b is negative 4 here. Plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that's negative 4, quantity squared, minus 4 times 2 times c, which is 9. Let's extend that radical all the way over. This is all over the quantity 2 times a, or 2 times 2. All right, I'm going to simplify this a little bit. All right, I've worked on this a little bit. It's the opposite of negative 4 is 4, plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 72. And let's simplify that just a little bit more. That's x equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 72. That is the square root of 56. All right, all over 4. Now we're going to simplify this. Oh, that's a negative 56. That makes a big difference there. Negative square root of negative 56. Now what I'll do is factor out what's under the radical there. So we have x. X equals 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 4 times the square root of 14 all over 4. I'm going to keep working on this up here. This square root of negative 4, that becomes the square root of 4 times the square root of negative 1, or that is x equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 times the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 14, all over 4. So let's take another step there. X equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of negative 1 is I. There's our imaginary number. And the square root of 14 cannot be simplified anymore, so I'll just leave that there. That's all over 4. Now what we're going to do is cancel out, or simplify. We'll divide a 2 out of every term. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And that will leave us in the end with our final answer, x equals 2 plus or minus I times the square root of 14 all over 2. And that's the answer. I hope that helps.